Attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Welcome to
All
Figure
right.
Frenzy. I am your host, RUB Figs, alongside my co-host Matt. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very good. How are you doing, Ruben?
I got a little bit of a trim. I don't know.
So,
I
anyway,
have to do it.
proper intro. Hey guys, my name's Matt. I'm one of your hosts for Figure Frenzy, episode 6, showcasing the community. To my that side, we have
IEB Figs, of course. It feels so good to be doing an episode like this. Since we started the show, this is something that I've always wanted to do because Wrestling Collectibles New Zealand, it is a community that has been built, well, mostly by Matt. You're the founder, of course. How long's the group been going along now? A couple years?
This is second year.
Yeah,
So I think April is like our 2-year mark.
Man, 2 years already. But yes,
Yeah.
quite the community has been built in these past 2 years, and we finally get to involve a lot of the other group members and their collections, because that's what the group is about. So it feels really good. Been clamoring for this forever.
And below us, we have where's Alex? Moment of silence for Alex, guys. He's sick. Thankfully, it's not COVID, since Auckland's in lockdown again. But yeah, he's sick. He's got no voice, so he's sitting this one out. But here he is.
Yeah.
And below us, we have Alex.
There we go. At least Alex is still apart somehow. It sounds like because he's been in streams before where he's been a little bit unwell, but this time it sounds like he just really needs the rest. So rest up, Alex. We'll see you next month in the next Figure Frenzy. Hope you get better soon.
Or maybe before then with our member interview, so we can actually see your collection, Alex?
I wouldn't hold my hopes out on that.
So just an FYI for everyone listening, you'll hear me cough from time to time as well. I'm currently week 6 of I don't know what the hell it is, to be fair, but I'm at the back end of it now, so I'm feeling okay enough to do this. But every now and then you'll hear a cough. I've got my bottle of water. I got my Strepsils. We're good to go.
Man, well, as long as you're on the way up.
Exactly.
Unless you're ready, Alex, of course. Yes.
So this is your show. You're the brains behind this one. So how do we want to do it? I mean, obviously we got Brett coming in later on. The winner of the what did we call it in the end? What was the competition?
I don't even know what we called it, but huge congratulations to Brett. It was a really, really tight race there, I feel. So basically, if you're out of the loop, if you're not in the group and you're watching this, I set up a little competition where I asked the other members of the group to send in their pictures, and then people would vote on who their favorite, on what their favorite picture is, and it got down to the wire there. Great entries, really solid from everyone, and Brett with the win, of course, the legend Brett. But it got really close there. Waiheke and David, real big thanks for joining in, and I'm sure we'll have both of you on the show in no time.
Exactly, and regardless, we're still going to see both of their collections. Part of the entry was if you didn't get to come on the show, your collection will still be on the show, just without you talking to us about it. So yeah, as Ruben said before, there's a collectibles group. If you're not a part of it, what the hell are you doing? It's flashing along the bottom of the screen there. That's the link. If you can't be bothered typing that link, just type in Wrestling Collectibles New Zealand. It'll come up. Just don't join another one that decided to have a similar name. But anyway, so how do we want to do this? Do we want to go the figure news? Do we want to go and just show off their collections first? We haven't really talked about any of this. This is just free flow. I mean, obviously we gotta wait for Brett to arrive before we can do his collection, but we could always start off with Waiheke and David's.
That's actually a really good shout. What for the people watching? What do you guys think? I think that's a pretty decent idea. Brett will be featured more towards the end, but yeah, like you said, Matt, may as well showcase.
Yeah, I like the sound of starting showcasing and then ending showcasing, and then
sounds great.
We can be selfish and talk about ourselves in the middle. How's that?
Well, it sounds good to me.
So, let me just find these because there's 1,000 pictures for this show. In no particular order, it'll probably flash between the two collections. But we have one of David's pictures.
It's awesome. He's only been a
collector for probably. Ruben, you can do most of the talking for this. I'll do the clicking.
Well, awesome. I don't know an awful lot about the in-depth details on these collections, but I know David has only been collecting for maybe a year, a little more, a little less. So the fact that it looks like this, it is very, very impressive. He's got a lot of coverage as far as big names go. Got the cool ring. That belt setup, it's very, very cool. I don't know why.
And unique as well. A lot of people, like especially myself, I try to put all my belts on people, or if I don't have room for it, I'll just put them in a baggie until I have someone for it to go on.
Yeah, exactly the same as you, Matt.
Just real quick, no, this isn't only available on YouTube. If you head over to the Facebook, it's there. But you're welcome to watch it on YouTube. I actually think it looks better on YouTube. But jump on Facebook. That's where everyone's interacting, obviously. And
hey, Waiheke, how are you going?
Yeah, good shout. Hi, Waiheke. But why'd that go off the screen? Later on in the show, Mitch, we'll get on to that.
Genuine excitement. Oh, that is awesome. Oh, so this was David in between submitting his photos. An earthquake happened, in his words, and he had to reset up his shelf. I guess I don't know the right word. So I believe this is rearrange. That's it. I think. Yeah, I don't know what I was talking about there.
I got you.
Yeah, always good to fall back on you, Matt. But yes, this is his more updated collection, I believe. Even better. I don't know how, but they look even more packed now than they did a few days ago. I think it's because he's got them more posable, like more posed, rather than like what Matt Cardona call his all in uniform and toy soldier like. Right.
Because especially if you look at that Sean, he's doing his like classic in the ring pose.
Yeah, that's awesome. Really well done.
And the one thing I like about it is he's got a lot of old school wrestlers, and they're standing in an old school or older school WrestleMania ring, so it all ties in well.
Very well done. Very well done. Yes, and yeah, this is something he only just set up the other day when he reset up his shelf. He's got a Wyatt shelf. Which is very, very cool. A very collectible superstar is Bray Wyatt and his Wyatt family. When you see pictures like this, you realize, man, they really have had a lot of figures and some really, really good ones too. And there's lots more coming out as well. Very, very cool.
So this is more of a close-up of his figures, so you can kind of see who's in there. So
is that a custom Elite Hollywood Hogan there? That's very well done.
I'd say so. I mean, doesn't look like the Ultimate, so yeah.
It still looks
back. Sting, a Jake the Snake. Is that an Edge or a Christian Edge? I think.
Yeah, that's Edge. Yeah.
Brutus, Mankind.
You got some goodies there. Real goodies. Some of these are really hard to track down. So he's done very well here. Yeah, same again. That Hall of Fame Hogan there. All the Hogan figures are pretty hard to find. Macho Man getting harder to find as well. Some really solid pieces. Oh, and that Kane at the back too. I believe that's the one that Morgan sold to him.
I was going to say, isn't that Macho and Liz from Morgan too?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah. Yeah, David.
Damn you, Morgan. I wanted that off you.
Oh,
Nah,
yeah.
Hey, that's how the collecting game goes. Sometimes you want to sell, and sometimes you don't. Just like in the group chat this afternoon, eh, Ruben?
Oh, yeah.
We won't
Yeah.
talk into details about it, but just like in the group chat this afternoon.
Yeah, you'll see next month. Alex has a certain pickup, and that'll explain all.
Yeah, it's a very good one.
Oh, and is that the Rockers there in that picture too? Man, completely missed that.
Yep, that's
right.
the one that you thought we were gifting to you on the member interview.
Oh no, it was the Rock, wasn't it?
Yeah, you said the Rock, didn't you? Oh, you said the Rockers.
Oh, I was talking about the Rockers. Marty and
My
Sean.
bad. I thought you said the Rock.
My bad. But yes, talk about hard to find. Jeez, those
Yeah.
Rockers, that's almost as hard as it gets.
Yeah. All I'm saying is, for how hard they are to find mint on card, and I mean mint on card, I hope that it was either a damaged package or already loose.
Oh yeah.
And then the other
man.
side,
DX.
I'm just a fan of this side more than anything because I've been wanting to get DX figures for the longest time because like me and my brother, like we grew up watching DX, and it's like the one thing that we kind of didn't fight over. So it was like, man, DX such cool figures as well.
Absolutely, especially that old Road Dogg and Billy Gunn. Those they were released years ago. That they're any Road Dogg and Billy Gunn Mattel figures are tough to find now, and that Tyson Kidd in the middle there too. Gee,
Yeah, they
Rock
are Legends WWE Elite.
I believe, yeah, most of these are Mattels. So
Yeah.
very, very impressive. And that Pillman there too. Far out, that's hard to find. But wicked display. Very
Cool
wicked.
collection. Any ideas how he sorts his figs up? Wouldn't have a clue. David, are you in the comment section right now?
Yeah.
someone go to the group and go at David, get on Figure Frenzy. There's questions for you. And then
It
Alex
definitely looks like
it.
yeah, it looks like that shelf that we're looking at now, it's mainly Legends.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
really
then
all
not
I
to be
can.
disrespectful, isn't that Tyson Kidd in the middle there?
Yeah, I'd consider him a legend now for sure.
Oh,
But yeah,
I do
that
too.
is Tyson Kidd.
I do too. But
Yeah.
like for the era that these guys are legends in, you get what I mean. That's why I said not to be disrespectful. He definitely is, but in the era that this shelf is kind of depicting, but out of place. That's why. Yeah. Anyway, just finished the 2K20 Swamp storyline too. Thought I got Fiend unlockable. Yeah. 2K20 is just a shit show, unfortunately.
Has it gotten any better over the last few months, or is it the same?
I deleted it. I reinstalled 2K19. And thankfully I still had all my New Zealand wrestling stuff that I made, including a bone that I downloaded from somewhere. I don't know where I got that from.
Forgot about that. Yeah, you're gonna have to share these pictures with the group now.
Yeah, I definitely will.
Ooh.
And so this looks like before he done the Wyatt shelf.
Yeah, more of a current setup there.
Yeah. There's a couple of WXW things there, which is bone, I think. I can't.
When I sent him that card, I did not expect him to display it or anything. I was legitimately just saying thanks for your friendship, blah blah blah. I can't remember what I wrote exactly, but far out. And the card next, I believe the card came from Morgan. There's another card to the very right. Original card. Morgan's really hooked him up with a lot.
Yeah. Well, even I've still got my WXW ticket that you sent me.
Oh yes.
Just because it's so well made, more than anything, I was quite surprised that you guys put that much effort into it.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, as much as they don't, someone over there doesn't want to credit me. Yeah, that's something I will take credit for.
Yeah, definitely. You got to take credit where credit's due.
Well, enough about me. Yeah, far out. That's an awesome display there. The shield.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's cool. And how they have their championship belts as well.
Yep. And they wouldn't be too easy to put around the waist on those tactical vests. Bloody hell.
No. Yeah, but very, very nice.
Have you got a Chris Jericho AEW bubbly?
It's on the way. It's been shipped 2 or 3 weeks ago, but yeah, not here yet.
And
But
you won't be opening that, right? It'll just be a minty.
I wish I could. Really just want to see it, but yeah.
Okay. So the reason I'm asking is because you would not be able to do that with the AEW title, because the clips in the back that are really soft rubber. So you try to put it, you have to like pre-do it like 5 or 6 times for it to stick in, without being around a figure. So it's a bit of a mission. It took me half an hour to get my custom shirt and title belt to cooperate on the Chris Jericho, and that's not exaggerating.
Damn. Well, hopefully they've fixed that. Do you have the Series 2 loose yet?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
But here's some news for anyone that didn't see it. Series 2 has arrived in New Zealand, both with Pop Guardian. So your pre-orders should hopefully start shipping soon. And then also it's arriving in Toy Worlds. It's turned up in Toy World Christchurch. So I guess nobody check Westgate, because I want to be the first one to see that there first. So nobody go to Westgate. But any other Toy World, please go check.
That's fantastic news. Yes, the reason I asked is because obviously the Moxley comes with the belt. So I was just curious if maybe they've fixed it. But I guess we'll find out in a few days whenever you get your ship.
Yeah. So I don't see them fixing it this early. Like, I could see it maybe later on in the line, but definitely not, especially not by Series 2. Because realistically, that Bubbly was part of Series 1, kind of. So there's no way they're going to fix it by Series 2. Maybe the Series 5. Was it 5 that comes with Moxley?
You know more than me.
I think.
You're the AEW king after all.
I think. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I'm scrambled at the moment because, yeah, we won't talk about this last pre-order. But anyway, whatever the latest, I think it's Series 5, comes with another 2 Moxleys, and one of them comes with a title belt. So maybe that one will be fixed, because that's a few series later, and they would have hopefully got the women's title right as well. Because obviously I don't have that loose yet.
We'll get there though. On an upcoming episode of Figure Frenzy, Matt will have it. But yes, in regard, if you're wondering what we're talking about with the Series 5, we've got it all sorted in the Figure News coming up. You got the pictures for that, right, Matt?
I'm pretty sure I do. If they're not there, something's happened.
That's all good.
Hickey asks, anything in their collection that you wish you had? So anything in David's collection?
Absolutely. Like I mentioned, those rockers, just right off the bat, they are just insanely hard to find. Any Mattel collector will agree. If you weren't in on the initial Matty Collector pre-order back in 2012, it was hard luck. And they've only gotten more and more difficult to find, especially since Marty Jannetty's Legends deal ran out, because that's the one and only Mattel figure he has and will likely ever have. And obviously they released a Rockers version of Shawn Michaels in the Retrofest line years on, but they could only release Shawn. So if you wanted a Jannetty, you'd have to buy 2 Shawns and swap a Jannetty head. This is the only way you can get a Mattel Jannetty head, which made it just even more in demand.
All right, just get in touch with 14 Fig. He'll get a custom head made for you for Marty.
There's how about you, Matt?
So for me, one figure I've always been wanting, and probably more since I saw you have it, because I got to see it more detailed. Not that you had it out of the box, but it was the closest I got to see it. Is that Hacksaw Jim Duggan in the background there? And then the other one, after seeing it here, that Triple H with the helmet. I didn't even know it was a thing, so I'm going to have to go looking for that.
Yeah, Elite Series 23. I believe the shirt. I believe David swapped on a cloth shirt, one that you can get in the Attitude Era Elite Triple H. Otherwise, it comes with a plastic one. But
I mean, I'm not against custom shirts or taking shirts from other figures. I'll happily do that just to complete the figure.
I agree. Loose collection, anything goes. Anything to make the figures look better.
Definitely. I got to get me some WXW merch, Bone to be more specific. AEW title, but take a shot. That AEW title belt is bloody annoying.
Well, it's not just you then, Matt. I guess that's good
It
justification
could just
to
be us though, because I know that he has fat hands like me. So it could just be us.
Oh well.
That's all right. I love you, Alex. Damn, finally AEW has arrived in New Zealand. Yup. Wasn't the Moxley a Series 6? I don't know. Whatever. I'm pretty sure 5 is the one that's just coming out for pre-order. That's with Lucha Saurus and all that, right?
I believe so.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
By collecting AEW figs, do you think they will look out of place with your WWE figs that you have displayed? I think they will, so you should just send them all to me.
Well, it depends on how you look at it. If you like to have like fantasy rosters and everything, they seem to be very close scale with each other. So as far as that goes, it should fit in, but it really just depends on, if your OCD will allow you to display them both the same.
Yeah. Well, I think especially if you've watched Ruben's room tour, I nearly said house tour, room tour, and where he's going to put the figures, it'll actually look good because he's also got his defining moment sitting next to them as well, which is black and gold as well. So,
good point.
It'll all work in.
Well, yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, I didn't make that choice. It was just the only space I had. But yeah, very good point. And back to Mitchell's point. Sorry, I didn't really get to touch on that. I really appreciate. Yeah, I appreciate it, Mitchell. I think it'll be a while before you see anything bone again. But one day for sure. But really appreciate that.
Maybe if he hurry up and debuts, we can get a pin made of him.
Well, yeah. As soon as it can happen, then.
Which DX era did you and your bro grow up with, Attitude or Ruthless Aggression? So I was actually having a chat with someone who's probably not watching the show right now, so I won't mention their name in case they don't want to be mentioned. That I always get confused with where the line is for Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression Era, so I'm never actually too sure. But I'm pretty sure it was at the end of the Attitude and, the Ruthless Aggression, but predominantly Ruthless Aggression. I'm not that old.
Yeah, and for me, I've only been a fan, believe it or not, for probably coming up 11 years. So of course the PG era was for me. So right at the end of DX's run, but anything DX is just top notch.
Oh, exactly. And I mean, so the first memory I have of watching any wrestling was Dad flicking through the TV, trying to find something to watch because it was horse racing had finished. And we just stopped on Channel 5 or whatever it was on at the time. I don't remember. And it was coming off the ads and it was called Raw. And we were like, what the hell is this? And then it comes back from that commercial break. And all we see is this guy just fully covered in blood, dripping everywhere, going by the name of Triple H.
Wow.
And so we watched the rest of that and he was like, this is shit. Bloody blah, blah, blah. And so the next week it was on again. So I watched it from the beginning. And the most memorable thing of that, I don't remember who Jeff Hardy was versing, but this is what planted the seed with Jeff Hardy. I just watched him win, it was either his first or his second IC title. And my second exposure to wrestling. So, yeah, bit of backstory for you.
Man, the Ruthless Aggression era, what a time to be a wrestling fan. Seriously, the amount of big names there, it's mad. Real mad.
Yeah.
And covered in blood, that's Ruthless Aggression in a nutshell right there.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. That's why I always get confused with what the two eras are, because they're, for me anyway, sitting from the outside looking in, so to speak, there was never really a clear, okay, we're going from this era to this era. It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
For me.
I don't know if it's correct, but the way I determine it in my own head is when they changed the F to the E, that's when that's what I determine in my head.
That probably makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but a lot of people, they say before, like the night that Vince purchased WCW, that's the end of the Attitude Era. I guess you can look at it many different ways.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure people who are watching can let us know.
Everyone watching
the line between the two is, because
let us
it's
know
a very blurred line to me.
For sure.
All right. This next collection is all over the show in the best way possible. There's a bit of everything, going from way back to Hulkamania all the way up to the phenomenal one, AJ Styles now. So let's get into Waihiki's collection, shall we?
His collection's nothing short of phenomenal. Seriously, the range of different items is just off the charts. Waihiki, I know you're watching this. Your collection is so underrated, and I think you're included. You underrate your own collection. It's far out. It's incredible, the amount of stuff you've accumulated over the years.
No, I
Quality
definitely
over quantity for sure.
So moving on from that picture.
Got some nice autographs from a particular wrestler in there. Randy Orton, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, and Ultimate Warrior are cool as well. But there's one in particular that's even cool. No, just joking. Just joking.
Yeah, that bone one's pretty hard to find, eh? He doesn't,
Well,
he
that
doesn't
particular
sign
one's a
very many
1-1.
things.
But...
Must like his fans.
No, in all seriousness, what a shelf. Seriously, the names on that shelf, the autographs, they're all signed. Is that, yeah, that's a signed rock figure on the other side. We just can't really see it.
I was going to say, are you that much of a Mattel mark that you can tell me who that one on the side is that we can't see?
Yeah, I remember
Beat me to it,
years
though.
ago. Yeah, years ago, options came up and traded me for these.
Right.
Yeah, far out. But yeah, just what a shelf. Yeah, this shelf alone, let alone the rest of Waihiki's collection.
Yeah, that Hogan wrestling buddy, he beat me to it on Trade Me, says Alex. And the man we were just talking about is
Hey.
so, all those questions you had for Dave that we couldn't answer, ask him now because he's here.
Hey, David, how are you going? And thanks for being a part of the episode as well.
Oh my God, it's Lucha Horse.
Oh, wow.
That's referring to the thing behind Hogan, I
Oh,
believe.
funny. No, that's awesome.
And what was the other question? I'll let you read that one.
The bone cut. Oh, jeez. Now, I didn't realize it was opposite day today, Waihiki.
So now we got this phenomenal part of the collection.
Oh, far out. That's awesome. Real awesome.
And
yeah, the range of different stuff in this shelf as well. The career of AJ Styles, really in a nutshell.
Yeah. And so I'm not sure if Waihiki would like this mention, but I know he's mentioned it to me before. This is not a on purpose shrine. It just happened. He just brought figures of AJ Styles, and then when he pulled them all out, it was kind of like, oh shit, there's a lot.
They have released a lot.
Yeah. No, definitely. Moving on to, I guess you could call it like a miscellaneous shelf.
Yeah, well, yeah, what an awesome shelf. A lot of memorabilia in this. Of course, the Slim Jim way at the back there, that's already quite high in demand. That glow paint Jeff Hardy, I was never a Jax collector, but I remember wanting this figure so bad. And it was, yeah, it's always been one of those real sought after Jeff Hardy figures. Incredible.
Yeah.
And that Shane O'Mac WrestleMania dollar, that is some history right there. And of course with the Okada bucks as well. It's just, yeah.
The Kenny
really,
Omega
really
bobblehead.
Yeah, that's pretty obscure.
The
Very
Okada. Then I think those are some old school pins in a Ziploc there.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
I might be wrong.
I've been talking to Waihiki, and I'm telling him he needs to do this. Eventually, he needs to do a room tour because he has so much to show. And he definitely does. I don't think he knows how cool his collection is.
But in the meantime, I think I've had a 3-hour chat with him on the YouTube channel, which is his member interview. So we do a deep dive into his collection there. So if you got 3 hours, check into that. And I'm
That's true.
3 hours. We just talked and talked and talked. It was good. Time just flew by.
You didn't actually see many of his items compared to like what he actually had.
Saw bugger all compared to what he has. But it was a good insight before he could put everything up.
100%.
So Attitude Era pretty much ran its course by 2001, Aaron says.
That's a very fair statement. Yeah, the Attitude Era really just defined the Monday Night Wars. So that's very fair.
Not that I endorse smoking, but I wish it was a smoker's cough because at least I knew how to get rid of it. Stop smoking.
Oh, funny.
No, definitely feeling better. Once I ran the course of the antibiotics, it started to dip down a little bit, but it's not COVID. That's the main thing, so we're good. Yeah, it's a bit of a missed shelf. Didn't know how to fill it, but didn't want an empty shelf either. Yeah, I know what you mean. So Waiheke and I actually have the same shelves, funny enough, and I've got the two bottom shelves empty because that's my dog height. So I don't want her to be able to put her wet nose on my figures.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, she would never go after them or try to play with them, but I just don't want the risk.
But the range of stuff on the shelf, you've got, well, if you count that Slim Jim as WWF or WCW, really, it's far out. That goes so far back. TNA, New Japan.
Yeah.
Kenny Omega.
That Jeff Hardy figure is one of the few TNA figures that I've actually wanted for a while.
Yeah. It's freaking awesome. It's probably, I'm not a huge Jax expert, so, yeah, take my word with a grain of salt, but I reckon that's probably TNA's coolest exclusive figure at ringside. Definitely the most
I personally think, for Jax, sorry, did you say?
Yeah, for Jax TNA.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah,
I'd argue if you're talking about, okay, so mine's a little bit of a different argument. Mine's more towards Jeff Hardy exclusives. He's had quite a few ringside exclusives with the TNA line. And I reckon that the RVD and Jeff Hardy 2-pack is better than this one.
That's a fair shout. You definitely know more about that than I do. So I'll take your word for it. Yeah, like I said, I don't know many of the TNA figures, but this glow paint one is definitely stood out.
If you get the choice to pick this one up, you're getting a good Jax figure, regardless. 100%.
100%.
Shout out to Junkyard Shop with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Definitely, they actually have their own figure line now. So if you want to, I don't know the correct pronunciation of their line, so I'm not even going to try to say it, but it features Bruiser Brody.
It's based on the old, how do you pronounce it, the Poppy or Popey figures?
Yeah, that's why I'm not even going to bother trying to say it, because I know I'm going to butcher it.
Yeah.
Brett will tell us all about it later. He's got both of them.
Oh, yes. And he knows Junk Shop Dog quite well.
Definitely. So he'll be able to tell all of you more about it. Sweet. Let's go. Probably the more, I think it's the more underrated part of this collection.
For sure.
People might just be looking at this going, VHSs, what a dinosaur. But I mean, most of these are WrestleManias.
And they're all original vintage. These can't have been easy to track down.
No, not at all.
So much history and nostalgia, probably more than anything, which is huge.
Yeah.
Real huge. Anyone who grew up in that time would definitely relate to that.
Yeah.
Probably like our generation met with DVDs, where I still have a few DVDs myself for nostalgia purposes only.
I've got a couple that I'll probably keep, but the rest I'm open to just moving along. Just no space for them at all.
Right.
But there's a couple that I'll definitely keep for as long as possible.
You definitely don't. I don't have anywhere near a shelf worth full of DVDs, though. That's put into perspective how impressive that VHS collection is. A complete shelf.
So that's the end of all the images. Thanks to both Waiheke and David for entering the competition, we'll call it, that Ruben set up, and then also allowing us to feature it regardless.
Yeah, really appreciate you being a part of this episode. It was great to see your collections, both cracking collections, and really hope that we can feature you more often on the show. It was really fun going through that just there.
Good, go carry on.
I was just going to say, if you have more words to offer, I guess, about your collections, if people are asking, then feel free to just leave them down below, because it's really cool having you guys along watching while we're showing these pictures.
No, definitely. And even if you want to tell stories about why you got certain things, when we're either talking to Brett or going through the figure news or Ruben's unboxing something, we'll just talk about it. We'll bring it up and we can continue to talk about it. This episode is called I don't remember now. My
Showcasing the community.
Yeah, that's it. Showcasing the community. I knew it was something like that. Yeah. So thanks to both of you for jumping into that. Now, Ruben, up to you. Unboxing or news?
I think we get into some news because we have a lot to discuss. We teased it a little bit at the start. Oh, yes, right off the bat. WWE.com, if you've not been keeping up, they've been doing a few of these votes lately. You get to choose the next attire used in the Amazon exclusive Ultimate Edition Fan Takeover series. We've had Jeff Hardy in the past. We've had Shawn Michaels, Ultimate Warrior. There may have been a couple others. Now we have Triple H, and the vote's still going right now. I believe the votes expire on March 2nd. So definitely go into WWE.com if you want a say on what they'll be making next. My personal opinion, the first Ultimate Triple H that they made was already based on his 2000 look. So I reckon one of the other two would probably be a better option. Would be more than happy with the other two. Sentimentally, because I was at Super Showdown, I kind of want that. But in saying that, they've already made a very similar figure in Elite Series 73. So I actually voted Survivor Series 2006 because that with the cloth shirt, like Matt has said in a private chat, it would just look really cool, and it would open up the opportunity to maybe get a matching HBK.
Yeah. No, I agree. Hey, for nostalgia purposes, for you and Alex, because you were both at that show, I hope you get the Super Showdown. But for, I guess you could say, fixing a figure that could do with an update, I'd prefer the DX Survivor Series one.
You're right. Yes, because like Matt said, they released a similar figure in the Walgreens exclusive Elite line. It's not exactly the same attire, but it's along the same line. But it could definitely, as an Ultimate Edition, it would look so much cooler with some new head sculpts, perhaps with the cloth shirt as opposed to the plastic one. Whereas the Super Showdown attire, if you wanted an Ultimate of that, it wouldn't be too hard to make a custom. Get the Elite Series 73 figure, put the accessories, the head on, swap the trunks if you can, and it would be pretty much as close as you'll get.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you keep mentioning Ultimate Edition. Is that a Fan Takeover Ultimate Edition?
Yeah, it is.
I didn't
really
know that.
Yeah,
okay.
The Fan Takeover series is turning into Ultimates.
Okay.
After the series 2 of the Elites, I believe. I don't know, but real exciting.
So
but yeah, people watching, what would you vote for out of those 3 options?
So the only other Fan Takeover Elites, which are only available in pre-order for Amazon, but they're already sold out.
Yes, we've got X-Pac, Randy Orton, Christian, and Johnny Gargano. Any of these are on your wish list, Matt?
So I've been wanting a Johnny figure for ages, so I was going to get that and then maybe just customize it to look how I want it to, because there's a few logos missing off of this one.
Yeah, that's such a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, which, hey, I get why they had to take them off. It's copyright issues, obviously. But that Christian, to me, is perfect. It's kind of the era that, I mean, it's kind of sad to say, but it's the era that I know Christian most for. For watching him. So I definitely want that one in my collection. That Randy Orton is basically when he first started to make a name for himself in WWE. So I definitely want that. And then, I know Alex is sitting here going, he's going to say it wrong. The X-Pac? X-Pac,
I believe.
X-Pac.
From the WWE NWO run. That's a very...
Why would you say no to that, right?
Sorry?
Why would you say no to that figure, right? If you got the option to get it, why would you say no?
Well, exactly. For your NWO collection, they've made a Scott Hall Elite based on the WWE NWO run. Now we've got Sean Waltman, X-Pac. They really varied between the 2 names at that time. It's a pretty sweet representation. Probably not his most well-known look, but it's still pretty sweet. In my opinion, I'd probably Christian is a definite for me because they released a very similar Elite in the build of John Laurinaitis Elite set back in 2012. It didn't come with a shirt, but it came with the IC title, and it was the same attire. Jeez, you just can't find that anywhere under $100, $200. It's just crazy.
And that'll be before the True FX time as well, right? So this head scan should be better.
Yeah, and a memorable shirt too. That was really the peak of his run, I'd say. 2011, what a year.
Well, hey, even when his music starts, I can't remember if his music used to start with the hit the switch, kill switch, but whenever his music starts, that plays in my head, just hit the switch, kill switch, which is on his shirt. I don't know why, but that's how memorable it is to me.
Yeah.
I could just be crazy too, you know.
Anyway, I don't know.
Has a purple trunk with taped thighs or something of the sort Triple H been made?
Yeah. Do I? Oh no, I don't have it. The WrestleMania 35 Elite.
I was gonna say the WrestleMania one would be the closest.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think they did taped thighs for that one, but definitely it's the purple trunks from the late Evolution days.
Yeah, no, they definitely didn't do tapes. I remember seeing that figure, and that was the one thing I was disappointed about.
Yeah, easy fix up, I guess, if you're into that kind of thing. If you get a modern Triple H, that WrestleMania 32 Elite Triple H, swap the legs onto the WrestleMania 35, and you're pretty much sorted there. Yeah.
And if you muck it up like me, you just send it to Ruben, and he'll fix it for you.
Well, I don't know about that one. I just want to have hundreds of packages arriving.
We can tell this story later, maybe. If Mattel made a Shockmaster figure, any idea if they will make a Super Showdown Kane figure when his mask fell off?
I've got. It wasn't based on that, but I'll grab it. Bear with me for a second.
While you do that, I'll quickly run through the other questions. You NXT Mark Matt. Gargano looks good. He does look good. Just the only disappointing thing is obviously the logo. Orton is pretty decent too. They need his Captain Charisma gimmick.
Yeah, then that vote, the Fan Takeover series, obviously there were votes for that. The other two options for Christian were WrestleMania 20, very memorable look, and I can't actually remember the other one. It might have been a Brood. I can't actually remember the third one, but I was quite
I don't think the
surprised
other one was a Brood. I'm pretty sure they were all short here.
Oh, yeah, you may be right. But yeah, WrestleMania 20 was a big shock that that one didn't win. But yes,
so back to the question at hand.
It's funny. About a month after Super Showdown, this started showing up in stores. It's Kane with the removable mask. It's the same attire he wore at. Was it? No, it was Crown Jewel where his mask fell off. They were very close events together. Obviously it comes with a removable mask. It's just the timing couldn't have been any more perfect. So while
that's the one that comes with a chair as well, right?
Yeah, it does too.
Yeah.
Technically, it's a Royal Rumble chair, but in the packaging you can't see that.
Yeah, I've got that one.
Yeah, I was thinking before this came out that this was going to be inaccurate because he hasn't taken his mask off wearing this look. But it turned out to be the most accurate current Kane figure that we had. It's pretty funny.
Became as good as the Titus World Slide figure.
Oh man, yeah. That's got to be one that we have
really need that figure.
Yeah, need a Titus Elite.
What else is coming out? I mean, we got this.
Oh, you take this one away, Matt.
I mean, to be fair, this era was kind of an era where I didn't get to watch much. So this time frame completely is away from me. But I know for a fact that people have been asking for this style of shirt for Jeff Hardy for a while, not the tank top, the long sleeve that's kind of see-through. A lot of people were making customs of them from the Edge and Jeff Hardy WrestleMania 2-pack and doing torso cracking and all sorts of goods just to get this kind of look. The one thing I've seen people complaining about online is that the red hair is a different kind of cut than what it should be. But if that's all you've got to worry about, then you haven't got much to worry about at all, right? It's a bloody amazing figure. Another Triple H. Triple H's are always solid. Basketball style singlet looks awesome. And then obviously the very hard to find or even get these days Intercontinental title. Yeah. What else can
Very
you say?
sweet set.
Anna's got
The way
the
I'd
necklace.
explain it. Oh, sorry, you go.
I said Anna's got the necklace as well for Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, that's not very common with the Jeff Hardy figures, but the way I'd explain it, it's the 2-pack that you never thought you needed.
Yeah. No, I agree. I definitely agree.
It looks fantastic. Really
And the
looking forward to
unfortunate thing is I need two.
that. You do too.
So, carrying on with some news, not so much figure related, but here's a sneak peek at the pin. So, this is only a prototype. It's all cardboard, but yeah, that's how the packaging will look. The picture will be slightly different, because we originally were going to do the white singlet, but we've changed it up to the red singlet, obviously, so it's showing that attire on the card now. Everything else looks the same. The NZ Wrestling Collectibles logo will be updated to the new title belt looking one. And yeah, obviously the number on there will be one of 50 instead. More details on how to pre-order that coming later on the show.
That's fantastic, though. Bravo to Matt and everyone involved on making this possible. This is very, very exciting. Even if you're not a collector, if you're a New Zealand wrestling fan, this is a must-have. And there's only 50 available. I'm definitely going to secure mine the second we go off air tonight. Wow.
Is that a spoiler? So moving on, we have another one of those kind of figures I think that you didn't know that you needed.
I guess you could say that. There's a lot of people who are really, really excited for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely passing on it. I don't need it. I don't care for it. The only thing I'd want is maybe the background piece because it's quite cool. But another John Cena figure that's not really, I mean, you could argue it's ring attire, but it's not really ring attire. Yeah, pass.
Yeah, I was not really the most excited for this one as well. But then when I first woke up and saw these images, seeing the amount of people that were excited for this,
Yeah,
there definitely is a market out there for this kind of stuff. Even if you're not a really big fan of the figure, this is perfect for fodder parts. So you get an NWO painted title, you get generic pant legs. You get that
NWO
background,
hat, cloth goods.
You do get a lot with this set, which is very, very cool.
Definitely. I mean, hey, I'm happy for everyone who's going to buy it, and I hope it's awesome for them. It's just definitely not something I'm looking for.
It sounds like with the amount of people who are excited that it will sell well. So hopefully that's the case for Ringside Collectibles.
Don't quote me, but it might already be on back order. So that's always a promising thing for Ringside when they go back order.
Yeah, especially for the WWE figures. They don't often go in back order immediately like that. So that's huge.
The last WWE figure I think that was on back order, again, don't quote me, it's just from the times that I've been on the website, it was Walter.
Most likely, yeah. And that didn't go on back order immediately either.
No, that took about 2 months. Because I know, like,
That's
2
right.
months later, I went to go order and it was on back order. And I'm like, I'll just wait a little bit, see how many, or see if it goes on back order again. Maybe order it closer to the time of it releasing.
Yeah, very, very true. Just don't leave it too long that you will miss out.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I feel I need it because it's representing the night that he won the title, which I was there in person.
Yeah, in Spain.
And
that was, if you haven't seen that match, definitely go and watch it. Wow, it just blows me away every time I watch.
Oh, 100%. Here's a figure that even if you don't collect UFC, you need to get online and order it right now.
Yeah, is he?
It's such a cool figure.
Made by Jazzwares, the same company who makes the AEW figures. They are in scale with the AEW figures and WWE Elite figures. Just incredible. Man, the fact that it comes with a New Zealand flag, that really caught, I'm sure, a lot of us off guard. But yeah, it's just, this has come in stock and ringside over the last few days. And the reviews that I've seen, that Izzy, it looks spot on. You get good looks at the different angles and far out. It looks incredible. Probably one of the better figures of this wave.
Yeah, and I mean, just look at that title belt. If you look at the limited, or we call it limited edition, definitely wasn't limited edition, but the limited edition series that they released with like 5 or 6 people, and they were all the same scale as Rey Mysterio. The titles were absolute garbage. They were just all made of rubber. The plates were rubber. It was just crap.
They definitely lacked a bit of detail compared to these new ones.
And then just looking at this picture, I mean, you can tell it's made of plastic because it's shining back at you on the belt.
Right. The strap has details. That's something that they didn't have to do, but really cool that they did.
Removable sunglasses as well.
There's something I'm surprised with this. He's well known for having a Deadpool tattoo on the side of his torso. It looks like he has the tattoo. You'd have to get a close-up look to see if it's actually Deadpool or not, but the fact that they were able to include something there, it's really, really cool. Especially if you're a freak like me who has to make sure everything's as accurate as it can be.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely had some conversations about things being inaccurate, haven't we, Ruben?
Too many, and it's all my fault.
Hey, why you're welcome to order 10 if you want. There's no limit.
Wow, that's the news.
When do you think Mattel will release more NXT UK Elite figures? To be honest, I don't think you'll see very many in the next 5 years, unless they get to the mainstream level of NXT. I mean, if you think about it, NXT on its rise, they still didn't get figures. I mean, they got that one line, but that didn't even last long.
And that was like 5 years after NXT really, truly launched.
Yeah. So I'd say
the only way they do it is maybe the way they've done the Walter being a ringside exclusive. Those little exclusives, they're probably the only way.
Yeah. If you do want NXT UK figures, search up the NWF on Instagram. He actually lives in the UK and he does a lot of UK wrestlers. He done this guy, won't say his name fully, but TB, and it looked amazing. It's a shame of what happened, but it just looked amazing. Over the last week, he's released, what's their names? The current NXT UK champions, NXT UK tag team champions, with the title belts and everything. And they look a lot better than anything I think Mattel would ever release. So if you want UK elites, head on over there, seriously.
That's pretty cool.
They're not cheap, but they're worth the money.
Sounds promising.
Will I be doing a Izzy vs AEW champion setup? Probably not. When I get Izzy, he'll go on my miscellaneous shelf along with Captain America, Mandalorian, The Child, and some other random stuff.
Imagine that though, because Izzy, he is such a character. Imagine he could fit in with any wrestling storyline and it would just work. Wow, what a guy.
Using the Tony Khan money to get the Deadpool image, definitely.
Well, if we go back to that Jericho figure that Matt was talking about towards the start, he has all of his arm tattoos, which I can't imagine how much that would have cost to get the rights for that. The amount of bands that are on there.
I remember when you first seen that, you're like, how the heck did they get that Rolling Stones logo on there?
Yeah, you get the later Mattel Jerichos, they couldn't include anything because they were all, you'd have to fork out for the rights. So I don't know how AEW have managed it, but it's, crazy. Wouldn't be surprised if that Deadpool one really is legit.
Yeah. And so here's the latest Elite pre-order on Ringside Collectibles. If it's not out for Pop Guardian yet, it should hopefully be within the next month, I'd like to think. And where's the imaging of the boxes? Brett, I did see your message. I'll send you the link to this in a second, unless Alice can send it to you, because I know he's got the link as well. So here's the inbox images. Bray Wyatt comes with Husker, so if you're trying to complete the entire Funhouse thing, you're going to have to get this Bray Wyatt too. Very smart marketing on their behalf.
So glad.
Becky Lynch with the women's title and Money in the Bank. Do you want to talk about that one next to her?
Well, before we get to that, the Bray Wyatt and Becky Lynch that you just mentioned, they're actually the first of many that are going to include double, with the double hinge in the elbow, for the articulation. They're definitely competing with AEW. AEW figures have made them step up their game. So Becky Lynch and Bray Wyatt are the first elite figures that will be coming with the new articulation, which is fantastic. It's great. All these new figure companies coming around, it's just great for everyone because it's massive competition. But yes, Undertaker, the next one. Do we really need a anything we say? Can that do justice? I know a lot of people who aren't really big collectors, and they want this figure because of the moment it represents. And it's incredible the job they've done on it. I think they've done outstanding. Of course, there's always I notice the little things that they could do a little bit better. I don't know if they'll change it or not, but I think I can recall noticing the glove hands. They are his classic MMA style gloves, but they're completely black. That's the style he wore on the day,
but
I believe.
I guess you gotta give up a little to gain a lot, right? So
exactly. Yeah.
And especially on this figure, there's so much attention to detail on it with different bumps and curves and whatever that, you know, to have the UFC gloves, it is what it is.
Yeah. When you get a figure like that, the hands really don't matter, but that's really the only thing I could pinpoint. It's the likeness on that face. Anything you could ever ask for an Undertaker figure. And yeah, I have real high standards for Undertaker figures, as some of you might know. And this really, they've done the best job that they can.
And then we got Aleister Black, and he is also the Chase. Now, I'm not too sure what the difference is between the Chase and the Aleister Black.
It's the back of the back of the trunks design is different, so you can't even really notice the difference in the packaging.
Okay, well there we go. We talked about Bray Wyatt, Karrion Kross. Not a big fan of him, but it is a very good looking figure. Soft goods jacket as well, which could be used for customs.
Yeah, something I noticed with Karrion Kross, the parts they used in order to get his height correct. Looks like they used very long calves and very short thighs, which looks a little bit disproportionate, but I guess at least they wanted to make his height correct, which is something that is hit and miss lately. So I guess as long as the height's correct, like Matt said, you got to give some give and take some things.
Yeah, and then we have Liv Morgan from the greatest love angle in WWE history. Besides the moment, it is a very good looking figure.
It is. Very.
So, is that... let me just swipe through these images. Oh, wait, no. How can we forget the AEW stuff? What am I doing?
Yes, we teased it at the start. You take this one away, Matt.
I'm going to say this first. If we get another copyright strike thingy on Facebook from AEW, it's because of these images. Here are some leaked images. I don't remember the name of the guy on Instagram, but it's obviously someone working in the factory. This is the... Starts with an H. Starts with a what?
An H. I can't pronounce it. I don't know
what it is either. But John Moxley, this is the rumored Chase or Rhea. I can't remember which one he's got this time around. So eye patch, paradigm shift, shirt, etc., etc. You can see it on screen. And then we got the...
Will this be the first series where they make the Chase and Rhea numbers different? Like they make them a little bit more common?
No, I think it might be after. I don't know if they've actually revealed when that's starting.
Yeah.
Alex, are you still around? Have you heard? Let us know in the comments. Or do some quick research for us. John Moxley coming with the title again. similar to the other figure, but also different at the same time, which is why I like their alternates of a figure in the same set. Because if this was Mattel, it'd be the exact same figure, just a small difference.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that they've made new head sculpts for each individual release, that's, Mattel, they're known to use the same parts all the time. So this is very nice, very refreshing, even though we've already got John Moxley.
And then we have Jungle Boy. Spot on.
I like the
Absolutely
knee pad.
spot on.
The knee pad sculpt is pretty cool.
Yeah. And I mean, you can't, I don't know how well anyone can see this on here, but they've even got the kind of like leaf details on his boots, which is insane. And then probably the one figure everybody is looking forward to, Lucha Saurus. They have smashed this one out of the park.
Huge fan of the sculpt, the torso sculpt.
Yes.
That's brand new.
Yep. Definitely. Now I think it was is it Jungle Boy? Yeah. So this is the one thing I have an issue with the AEW line. Look at the color of his chest compared to everything else. So it's the same with Santana. It was the same with Cody, I think, in Series 1. And like it seems to be every series is one figure that's got this problem.
Was it Hardy in Series 4 that had it?
Who?
Hardy?
No, definitely not. I saw the unboxing of that today. That figure's insane.
Oh,
Nah,
right.
it's Santana in Series 4 that has that problem. But it's almost like, because you haven't got an AEW figure in hand yet, have you, Ruben?
No, I've been waiting anxiously for months for the
chests are like a very soft plastic. Like I almost call it rubbery, so that you can get that flexibility, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
So it's almost
very,
like
very cool.
they're trying to get the color match close, and they just give up. That's almost what it feels like.
I'd say there's probably a little bit more to it than that. The type of plastic might, I don't know, fade. The color might fade or whatever.
I hope they figure it out shortly though, because that's the only main gripe I have. I mean, every series or every figure in the history of mankind has scaling issues. Every figure has, paint issues from time to time. But it's the small things like this with the chest that I just cannot stand. Because you got to look at that the entire time, and you can't fix it.
Very true. I guess in your case, you'd hope he comes with a shirt or something.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't. He definitely doesn't. A few more comments. Let's leave Jungle Boy up on screen so everyone else can be mad at him like I am. I would get Karrion Kross, but I don't really like him. Fair enough, Mitchell. What up, Parky?
Hey, Parky.
Better late than never, right? David, I put Tyson Kidd in amongst the Heart Foundation to hold a space for Anvil if I can find one, and he's part of the Hearts. Was going to get the Heart legacy going. Makes sense. Makes total sense.
That's cool. I'm surprised I didn't pick up on that. Looking at the pictures, that it was Heart Foundation at the back. But Tyson Kidd definitely fits into that. So you've done very well. But yeah, if anyone has an anvil for sale, a Mattel anvil, hit David up. He'll buy one.
Thoughts on the recent AEW Impact New Japan Pro Wrestling relationship? I mean, you can't be mad at it, right? It's just good for wrestling fans. Good content all around. Yeah,
it's creating buzz, which is really what you need. For anything in this day and age, you need buzz. You need people talking. It gets people to tune into all the other shows, which is probably the main goal. I don't see how this could hurt any of the company in any way or any of the wrestlers. I think, having more possibilities for different match types and opponents. We haven't seen it for very long, so it could change, but so far it's been excellent for everyone involved, in my opinion.
No, definitely. Hasn't been said at some point they will have the odd set where they are 1 of 3,000 and 5,000. So that's good to know. David doing a quick recap after being late to the live. No worries, David. You haven't
That's
missed out
all
on
good,
my
David.
pick because Brett hasn't been on.
Yeah, the main event still yet to come.
His chest got stuck in the sunbed.
Yeah, it's funny that the AEW figures, they're that good that the fact that the only thing that is wrong is the slight skin tone difference. It's pretty good, but in my opinion, that's our only gripe.
Yeah. If Marco Stunt gets made, will he be half price or come with an extra accessory like Hornswoggle did? So it's funny you say that because I don't think Marco Stunt's actually too much smaller than Jungle Boy. I think he's like a head and a half smaller. So they'll just, my guess would be they'll just give him his jacket and his hat because he comes out with a hat, or they might even give him a removable mask because he comes out in a dinosaur mask from time to time. But that's very funny.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it, Waiheke.
And Morgan, I've been quietly watching in the background since the start.
Oh,
There
hey.
we go, Morgan.
Hey, Morgan. Good to see you.
Cool. So, quick unboxing, and then we'll get Brett on, eh?
Oh, yes. So what have you got to show? You've actually got packages to open, right?
Well, before we do that, we've got to do this.
No, you're not. I'll pay for shipping. I'll pay for...
So, I feel like I know what this is, but there's a few orders I'm waiting on, so I'm not too sure. Brett has joined the room below now, so I'll do this quickly once I can find my screwdriver. Here it is. And then there's another package that arrived, I want to say Friday, and it had no who it was from address, so I don't know what it is, don't know who it's from, so I guess we'll find out.
I don't know what to say to that. To be honest, I guess we'll wait and see.
All I'm saying is I hope it's not payback.
Oh, no. While you're opening that, I'll show the first thing that I just show. It's very rare that I show things. But basically, I was doing an Instagram live stream the other night because that's where that'll be the home for unboxing. At least in the meantime. I mean, I forgot to make that one on demand. Something happened and I couldn't save the video. So I said, if you missed the live stream, Rings by Collectibles there. Yeah, if you missed the live stream, then come to Figure Frenzy and you'll see what we got. We got 3 things. I guess, yeah, now that you've got your stuff open, we'll see yours first, Matt.
No, keep talking. Don't cut yourself off.
Oh, we see a little bit there. Okay, so the first thing, it was a pre-order, believe it or not. Alex will probably roll his eyes when he sees this. My pre-order for the Andre the Giant ring cart came in. I pre-ordered this from Amazon. Obviously, it was a lot later than Rings by Collectibles, but I wanted to save a few bucks. And if you want to save a few bucks, you have to be a little bit more patient. And in this case, a lot more patient. This is a lot later.
Shots fired.
The only shots I was firing was at myself, I thought.
I'm just trying to create controversy. Don't worry.
Don't blame you there, Matt. A lot of you have probably already seen this from when Alex showed it probably a few months back, but yeah, love this Andre figure. The old basic articulation, of course, which is a nice bonus. And the head sculpt's brand new, probably the best that they've ever done. That's enough for my waffling for that one.
All right, so I know who this is from now. It's from Ruben.
Yeah, and yeah, my apologies. When as soon as I sent it, I realized I forgot to put a return name on there, so that's completely my fault. I'm glad that it arrived at all, because if it didn't, then we would have been out of luck.
Yeah. So this one, I might actually need to open this. I can't have the shirt being like that, Minton card.
Oh, it's a little bit stretched, isn't it?
It's all scrunched up. Oh no.
Honestly, from our first glance on the camera, we couldn't. You can't really notice anything.
I can notice it though.
Yeah.
No, you'll remember the OCD I had over Billy Kay. Surely.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
I do remember that one. Yeah.
So
But now, what a pickup! Very, very
I've
cool
been
pickup.
waiting for this from Ruben for quite a while now. I told him about this and he ordered it.
I figured you like spotted parts. You making lots of customs now. That's in scale with Mattel. I had it lying around. I thought it'd be better with you than it would for me.
I was
And,
gonna say,
I made
is
it
that
into a little custom
WWE
wrestler.
body?
No, it's not actually. I bought this a few years ago when I was in Las Vegas because the lower legs, the only way you could get that in Mattel format, it was a bare feet mold. The only way you
Right.
could get that was with the Von Erich figures, which just impossible to find. And I wanted the chance to make a custom of something that I don't know if it will be finished now, but I put Mattel lower legs onto there, kick pads and knee pads, and now he just looks like any other wrestler. So
Yeah. Hey, I'll definitely use that. Thank you.
and he has the
Is
double
that
jointed
my
arms too.
payback for the 1-on-1?
Well, actually, that didn't come to mind. Oh, I don't know.
And then
I
the
don't
main event, the
know.
real
Yeah.
thing that I sent him the link for because he couldn't find it originally.
Yeah.
And he ended up ordering 2 just before I ordered my one. And he goes, I ordered it just in case one of you guys needed it. So I was like, oh, yeah, well, that works. I was going to get one.
Yeah, well,
cool.
it was. Yeah, I would have completely missed it if Matt didn't share the link. Because if you didn't know that fan takeover series, it had come in stock on Amazon or it had been up for order weeks before, but for some reason Ricky Steamboat never went up. I guess they just forgot to put him up, and then all of a sudden he was up. And he went fairly quickly too. Matt happened to get the timing right. The first thing I did, I didn't even think, but I just ordered 2 just in case, and it so happened that Matt needed one, which all good. And yes, I believe Matt, I left a picture in there to put up of my first Instagram live. I'm not showing everything on that just because we don't have much time, and like I said, that's where my unboxing videos will live. But as you can see, along with the Ricky Steamboats, there's another figure at the bottom there. If you want to see the full unboxing, not going to take all of your time up here, but go to my Instagram, RUBFigsNZ. You can see the on-demand for that. Yeah, like I said, the only reason why I'm showing stuff here today is because I forgot to make my video on demand. Oh, yes, that was there because we were talking about collections.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess
That's
we'll
fine.
get to that later.
It was a good segue. That intro is good, Morgan, and it's only there because Ruben was a good sport and allowed it to happen. I made it as a piss take and sent it to him like, "Oh, this would be funny to use," and he was like, "Oh, you can use it."
No, it was very well made. And yeah, if you can't just take the piss out of yourself every now and then what are you doing? It's funny. It's funny.
Yeah.
What Matt did was hilarious. I love it.
The reason this was uploaded is so that you can go check out Ruben's collection on his channel, and while you're there, he made an arrow so you can subscribe.
Yeah, and I accidentally misplaced the arrow. I was gonna put the arrow towards the video, but I accidentally pointed it to the subscribe button. Wink, wink. Maybe you should look into that if you're not already. But yeah, Matt brought up earlier today, are we going to show our own collections today as well? Yes, I already have a collection video up, so that saves a lot of good time as well.
So
Matt, you got something to show?
I'm gonna do a Ruben here and say you'll have to check out the video that I'm currently editing. But a quick sneak peek. Alex made this. We didn't make this. He put the shelves in the middle for me, so it kind of looks like a thing that he made now. But it made my collection a lot more viewable. And just here's another angle of it there.
Very well done. Very well done. It looks like it's supposed to be integrated like that from the start. It just works very well. Ah, the man himself.
Yes.
What a collection. What can you even say to this? That's just
for anyone that doesn't know, this is Alex's collection, or a quarter of it, should I say.
At least, at the very least, a quarter, probably less than that.
Oh, no, I said a corner. This is definitely not a quarter.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said a quarter. But
no,
nah.
This is definitely not a quarter. You
Yeah, believe it or not,
the bigger stacks behind it.
Yeah, he has a lot more to showcase in this. This is just, yeah. Wow.
So yeah,
Just
if you guys
wow.
want to see a full or his full collection, you'll either have to keep hassling him for a member interview or to make a video himself.
Get on it, Alex. We want to see it.
I agree. All right. And just before we bring Brett in, just a reminder, after we finish talking to Brett here, there'll be information on how to pre-order the pin.
Yes, and I've got 2 more things to show.
Oh, you got more? Sweet.
Yeah, I've got just 2 more things that were also on that Instagram live stream that never made it to On Demand. We have 2 Elite figures that came from eBay. I only really buy from eBay if they're exclusives or they are just out of stock. In this case, they're brand new exclusives. We have, first up, Decade of Domination, Series 2, Elite, the Glamazon, Beth Phoenix. Finally, an Elite Beth Phoenix figure with the women's title. Really, really cool attire. I'd say it's a very memorable attire of hers. It was on a video game, SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, I think. She wore it quite a lot in 2010. Beth Phoenix, I'm not sure how many people know this, but she's my all-time favorite women's superstar. She just stood out from everyone else, especially back then. It was a different time back then, and Beth Phoenix was, just in a league of her own. And the last thing we have to show, also from Decade of Domination Series 2, by God, it's gotta be Kay. Yes, this figure, a re-release from the Ringside Collectibles exclusive way back in 2010, 2011. This one, however, is not a straight re-release. They made a new head sculpt here, which just, if I can get a close-up, sorry about the glare and everything. But just, if you're a wrestling fan, everyone knows this moment. Incredible. So I'd say overall the attire, it has a little bit less detail. So as far as the rest of the figure goes, it's a little bit of a downgrade from the original. But the fact that it comes with this wicked new head sculpt, I think if you're a Kane fan, you definitely still need both in your collection.
Yeah, no, I agree. Just for Waiheke, I'm just going to quickly chuck Alex's collection back up. In the meantime, Brett, can you give me a thumbs up if you're ready to come in? Sweet. All right. On that note, let's bring in the man of the hour, Brett.
Ladies and gentlemen, our main event of the evening, Brett Amon.
Oh, thanks for that intro. Amazing. I wish my wife would give me an introduction like that every time I walk in the house. That'd be awesome. Hey, I feel that I feel that Alex should potentially won the award for the best collection.
Well, he never put his up, so
nah.
Can't get involved.
Well,
I'm
guessing he's part of the team, so that's why.
Yeah, maybe. He's very private about what's in his collection, and I get it.
Wouldn't take any attention away from your collection, though, Brett. Seriously, well, you won for a reason.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I do have I mean, I think about a couple of years ago it probably would have been bigger though.
Yeah.
I kind of I remember at one point in time I had the full line of the Hasbros on card. I had them similar to what Rub's got up on the walls, like that. So that's all 97 of them.
Right. God damn.
That's nuts. That is absolutely nuts.
How long ago? You have to forgive me for my production value. We're selling our place at the moment, and I've packed everything up, so there's nothing glorious in the background to really look at. And the light, I blew one of my light bulbs out too, so hence the slightly darker.
It's all good.
The mood lighting.
It's all good.
All good.
So, since you mentioned your collection's not up, we've actually got photos of Brett's collection to bring up on the screen and talk about at the same time. But before we get into that, I was saying in the chat earlier, I think I've seen your collection, 3 times in person now, Brett?
Yeah.
And every single time, there's nothing new actually on the shelves, but I seem to find something new that I haven't seen. It's just, there's so much cool things on there that you just can't take it all in one go.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's kind of multi-layered, when you start staring into it too much.
Yeah. It's like you're staring at one thing and your eyes are just being drawn down to something else. It's like you just can't concentrate. But it's good.
Oh, for sure.
So good.
Yeah, we can even showcase some of the things I'm not really supposed to talk about tonight.
Yes.
as a special exclusive.
That's awesome. So, where do you want to start?
Where do we start?
You put
I've
a
got those
picture up
photos.
and I'll talk.
Cool.
I don't rehearse anything
Well,
here.
the one thing that I know you've told me about, but I can't remember the story, so we'll start with that.
Right. Okay. So that is a Playmates. That was a Playmates series they did called Ringmasters, which are like a very small, tiny figure. They did around '97. So that sort of showcases. They had Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Sid, Psycho Sid, and a few around that sort of era.
Right.
Now that what you're looking at there on, I'm guessing on your left-hand side, which is the unpainted one, is the that's the actual original wax sculpt. So that's the first process that they used to use to make a figure. So nowadays it's all computer generated. So that part of the process. So the wax sculpt part of the process, which is what the resin prototypes are cast from, are made a mold from. That whole process has been cut out. So basically, all they do now is they generate the image, using on a computer, and then they make a test shot off of that. A test shot being the first trial of the of the injection molding and all the rest of it. So that's actually hand carved. You can, if you look really closely at it, you can kind of see that it has been as well, done with hand tools, things
and
like that.
It's just
and so
so
it's got
impressive
that sort
that
of
someone's made that from hand, basically.
And those ones in particular, I don't know if you've seen them in person. They're quite small.
Yeah, I think
they're probably only roughly 1.5 inches high. They're very tiny. So they're about say like maybe 40 millimeters, 50 millimeters at the most.
Right.
Yeah, and
So
that
a lot of
base
detail to cram into that tiny thing.
Oh, absolutely. And the podium stand that it's on, that was the original idea for the podium. And that's also made out of wax. You can see they tried to go for a sort of a ring effect. Yeah. And then obviously the finished product on the right is the production product. They've just kind of gone something a little more basic with a sticker, of the wrestler's graphic on it. Yeah, I guess so. So that wasn't. I've actually got 3 of those bases. Actually, it's quite funny. They actually look like little blocks of chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wicked. It was too detailed to mass produce. That says something about how amazing the sculpt is.
Yeah. That Playmates line, along with they had a stretch wrestler line that year as well, and also they had 2 bigger around sort of 12-inch statues, I guess, and they only did 2. They did the Undertaker and also Sid. But they didn't poor Playmates didn't actually last long. And that, I think Jax bought out their remaining stock in the end, and Jax ended up. So a lot of the later ones that are carded have actually got a Jax sticker slapped over them. So that's when Jax Jax took over that line, even though this was actually running almost concurrently with Jax. The first 2 BCA, like Jax Bone Crunchers. So Jax Bone Crunchers Series 1 and 2, this was kind of running concurrently with that. This is the reason that Playmates only had stationary figures. They didn't have articulated figures because Jax had the license to produce those for WWF at the time. So all the Playmate stuff was only like in a sort of statue form. They didn't. Let's just say they didn't sell very well anyway. They didn't perform very well. So to even find the prototype versions, and I've also got another prototype of that's not pictured there, which is actually a resin prototype of Vader, which was unproduced. They never made the Vader because the line, they kind of dissolved the line. So I've actually got a Vader one as well, which is made out of resin, which is quite a hard plastic, unpainted resin, which is what prototypes generally referred to as. But I find the wax sculpts quite interesting. I actually had an Undertaker, one you've probably seen, which is an Undertaker wax sculpt of the Undertaker head, which is an unreleased version that they were going to do. They were going to call it Hall of Fame. And they were going to be 12-inch figures as well, like with soft goods, and they never released those. It was going to be Hulk Hogan, Undertaker, and Macho Man, to the best of my knowledge.
Oh, damn.
Crazy.
And I've got a wax. Oh, and hang on. I've got a lot of stuff packed up. Some stuff is still sitting on my desk. So hang on, I'll just. If you can see
cool.
if you can take that down for a minute, I'll just show you the picture of the Undertaker head I'm talking about there. If you can see that.
That is so detailed. That's uncanny.
So
how did they do that?
That's quite big. If I hold up my phone, you'll see the size, like to the scale. See, it's quite.
Is that the size that it would have
Hasbro? Yeah. So Hasbro made those. That was around 93. So the reason, and people go, oh, why would they make a Hall of Fame? Undertaker only was just started then. He wouldn't be in a Hall of Fame. And it's like, no. What they did was, there was a G.I. Joe line called Hall of Fame, which Hasbro made. And so they were trying to make a wrestling version of that at the time. So that would have come, I've actually seen the drawings to this as well, which confirms all that was made. So this is the original wax sculpt as well. So that's all hand carved from wax.
It's amazing.
I'm not entirely sure. I do tend to be very careful with these. I haven't found them to be susceptible to heat yet, but then I haven't tried to get it near a heater or anything, and I don't really want to. But so I don't know. I don't know. I mean, obviously being wax, I think they could possibly melt in the high temperature. So I try and keep them away from the sun and things like that. So this is one of 3 wax heads. This is the very first one, and the other 2 are cast off this one. And there's a hand painted resin head as well, which Matt Cardona owns. So that's the only ones I know of.
Right.
So that's one of the items. I know I've sold a few things recently, but that's one of the ones I'm hanging on to. So that's quite a cool thing to have, and that kind of ties in with the sort of wax.
And the one thing I want to also note on before we go further is we're only in item 1, and the amount of things that I've just learned off of your knowledge of your collection is insane. And we're on item 1.
Oh, okay. Well, so then we can move in, because I sort of touched on test shots, didn't I?
You sure did.
Which is the next step. So this is probably a photo I should not be showing, but seeing I decided I'd talk about it, and I sent a photo to Matt. I guess I'm going to have to carry on through with this. Okay, so these are. I know there's a lot of. Oh, there you go. I can see Matt Hardy on the corner of my screen there. And so,
if anyone flips us and sends us around, you're banned from the group.
Yeah, potentially. But anyway, right. So because there's so many fans. So this is a New Zealand exclusive. Because there's so many fans of Mattel Elites on this group, it seems to be the sort of the backbone of this group, and also probably due to the probably maybe the younger generation of collectors on here. That is the thing they know. And so I wasn't a big Mattel Elite collector because I used to collect older stuff. But when I started to see some of this stuff come through, just for various aesthetic reasons, I kind of dug the way it looked. So just to touch back, because Matt showed you the Matt Hardy test shot. So the test shot there in the box is actually a mock-up version. So after the test shot is made in production, what they're basically doing is they're testing the molds, they're testing the plastics, they're testing the injection, and even to a point sometimes they test the paint. So
let me go grab the final product real quick.
Yeah.
You may
see some with like a primer paint on them. Actually, I think I had one up for sale at one point, which was Sting. And he had primer paint, and I think a few people questioned me, oh, why is he all covered in grey spray paint? And that's the primer, and what they do is they run that through to test if the paint will stick to PVC. So they use it as a test, and then they know, okay, well the paint keys to the PVC, so then we'll go ahead and then we can do the paint applications. So
there's the final product for anyone that wants to see.
Yeah, there's the final product. Yeah.
So in the packaging, they find whatever cardboard they had to their disposal, right? That's what they do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I just want to backtrack a couple of steps before I go into that part. But so what actually? Okay, well, so what happened? So basically, what you guys have seen in the last couple of minutes is Matt has showed you a test shot, which has got different coloured head and hands and things like that, right? Now that is that's what's known as a first shot. They're generally ones that are got different coloured plastics on them, because what they do is they basically use any plastics that are available or already run through the machine. So if they were making, say, My Little Pony or something like that, and it had a fluorescent pink plastic left over, they would use that. Hence why the head or something might be plastic, a different coloured plastic. So that's what's called a first shot. So they'll do that. That'll be the first thing that comes off the production line, and then they take that to engineering and QC and go, okay, this is what we've got. This is what it's going to look like, and they go, okay. And then they run a few more through the machine using the general colours that they're going to do for the figure, which would be the one. If you can put the picture back up quickly. That's the one that you'll see there in the mock-up box. So you'll see it's pretty much the colours of the production without paint application. And they put the shirts in there as well. And they've also used, so to go back to what Ruben was saying with the mock-up boxes, basically they'll mock a box up out of whatever cardboard's lying around. For some reason, I've got a couple that seem to have a kind of a sunset type of theme on them. And they make all that up. So that's basically the mock-up. So then they've got to say, okay, this is what the finished product looks like. That's the shape. That's how it fits into the blister. That's how the window works. That's how the figure, fits in there. That's how it looks. So it's pretty much how they do it. They even do it with soft goods, as you can see with Ric Flair. His cape didn't actually come in that colour, but that's a mock-up version of the robe that they're using. And sometimes already used parts are used. So sometimes you might see something like they may have already. I'm not really that up on. Ruben probably knows a bit more about it, but that Andre body probably potentially existed. Maybe it was the Big Show or something like that, and then they've gone and had to manufacture a new Andre head. So that's why the Andre head is made out of the orange plastic. So that'll be called a first shot.
Right.
Yeah. So that's how that works. And obviously you can see what do we got there. We've got Roddy Piper, Hillbilly Jim, Superstar Billy Graham, Big Boss Man with the blue shirt. Sorry, what was that?
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say Hillbilly Jim. That's a while back that they did that one. That's a really good one.
That's a while ago. Yeah, that's without his overalls, obviously, but he's got the horseshoe chain around his neck. And those in the top of that picture, they are prototype test shot tag team belts.
Wow.
Which are the classic tag belts. So they basically produce everything in test mode, which is why they're called test shots, because basically they also take photography of them to see how they look. So they basically get sent around for quality control and things like that, and how does that look, and then it gets signed off, and they go, right, go into production. And that gets to the production, the figures that you get in the stores and all the rest of it. Normally with this type of stuff, it gets destroyed, chucked in the bins. You can leave it up to your imagination how these actually get out of the factory. It's pretty simple to work out. And then they fall into people's hands.
Yeah. So are you allowed to disclose how many approximately you have?
No, they're just pictures, not just man. I don't have any.
Just that?
They're just photos. I don't have those. No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have I don't know, actually. I don't know. It depends. Some production runs, some of them, it depends how many they make. They might do it. Sometimes they might do a run of like 6 or something for test shots. And then they might do some, they might, generally the first shots, there's probably only one of those or 2 at the most with the colored plastic. And then they run, I've never seen more than about 6 in total of each thing.
So I guess it depends on how many people they got to show it to, right?
I guess so, yeah. And maybe if there's a slight defect or something, and they'll run another one through. Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, there is lots. I mean, I've got other ones sitting here that I can show. I mean, there's one of there's if you can, I'll try and get close. I know my there's Biggie in a mock-up box, and see the boxes. See, they just there's that Sunset I was talking about. So just the mock-up plastic. The backgrounds like that, and they come with the. I've only got and there's a Kofi one. And that one's put in a shark. That one's put in a shark box. Kofi's box. So sometimes they just find a box. So that's see, John Tender's box there. So they put sometimes they just throw them into any old box. That's like just show. I mean, as you know, with the elite boxes, they're all pretty much the same. A lot of the series anyway. So
exactly.
That's kind of how they go about it.
No, that's cool. And so before we carry on to the next image, what actually is in your collection? Do you have a way to define, like if someone says to you, what do you collect? Do you have a way to define that?
It has evolved over the years. I mean, I did sort of start out mainly with Hasbros and things like that. And I did have a lot of LJNs at one point. And then I kind of sort of went off LJNs and I sold a lot of them, which I instantly regretted about a year and a half later. And so I bought a bunch of LJNs back. I tend to go for sort of the era I grew up in, which is like in the mid, sort of late 80s to early 90s when I watched wrestling the most, and it's the era I have the most affinity to. So I do tend to collect in that sort of genre. It's why even with the elites, with the test shots, I do tend to have the older school guys. And then I I did move into getting prototype stuff as well, which was quite intriguing. I just kind of like the story behind it, and it always intrigues me as to how that even gets out of the factory too. Mm-hmm. It's like someone sculpts and makes it, and then somehow it gets out, and you just kind of wonder how many people it's been passed around to.
Yeah.
Like you can post something up on Instagram, and someone will message you and go, "Hey, I used to own that 7 years ago." You know, and sometimes it's even been traveled around the world. You're like, some of the stuff I've got, I think has been, that's been to, it's been in the US, it's to Canada, been to Germany, been to New Zealand, and then maybe it'll go from me to Australia, UK. Some of them have been in Wales, all sorts. You get all sorts of people contacting you saying they used to own that. So it's quite amazing how much. It's quite interesting. Yeah, it's just quite an interesting. It's obviously a well-traveled items. Yeah. Obviously, every year they probably get incrementally more expensive.
Yeah,
because I've heard stories like I speak to if you watch the major pod, he probably hasn't been mentioned for a while on there, but Mark Bushy, who Matt Cardona calls the Bushman. Like I talk to him probably once a week. Like we're quite good mates, and he always sort of says, "Oh man," he tells you stories. He goes, "I had like prototype hand painted resin prototypes of the Jack's bone crunching figures like in 2015 or something." He goes, "It only cost me. I bought them all for, I bought 3 of them for $70 and all this sort of stuff." And then like years later they're worth thousands.
It's crazy to think of.
People might go, "Hey, look, you spent a lot of money," but it can be an investment too.
Yeah.
And to be honest, some stuff I've purchased like 2 or 3 years ago, I've sold for 3 times what I paid for it, and only a couple of years later.
Oh, exactly.
So it's just getting a starting point for buying some of that stuff. It's that's why I sort of suggested to Matt, you might want to try and grab some of these items, these test shot items, because maybe in 10 years or so, some of those earlier series, elite test shots are going to be worth can be worth quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
And especially when a lot of the collectors get a bit older as well, like maybe as old as like an old man like I am, they'll find memories of that. And then of course there's always the case of a bit more disposable income to sort of pay for that type of thing as well. And then you can maybe sell a few of those, buy something bigger.
Not that I think any of us really collect to make money, but if you look at trends, look at the Hasbros and the LG these days, like what you were talking about, people getting older, bit more income, etc., etc. It's only going to happen again with Jax next, and then Mattel, and then AEW, and so on, so on, so on. It's always going to be there.
Well, you can see the trend with Jax now. Even some of the Jax stuff getting quite expensive.
Yeah.
Bigs Down Under, the Australian group to this group, they tend to. You see some of that Jax stuff is rising in price. Like
Ridiculous.
I remember 4 or 5 years ago, literally just giving away like boxed Jax figures to people.
Yep.
Just going, because I knew a guy in Germany. I was like, here you go. I'll just send it. You pay for shipping, because they weren't worth $9, And now some of those people are actually paying. I mean, due to the exposure from major pod and that, they are sort of going for that sort of. They might be going for $50 or $60, whereas you couldn't get you couldn't get a pie with the money you got from one of them 4 years ago. So
it's how things have gone up since the major pod started.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's sort of done a service to the figure collecting community, but it's kind of done a disservice.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
vein
it's been good
the
and
fact
bad.
That it's pushed the prices right up, and which is unfair to a lot of people. And I mean, you should be able to probably get hold of a Chase MJF or something without paying, $1,000 for it or something. You should really be able to get it. Speaking of, there you go. If I could reach through the screen and grab that off you, I would.
Hey,
but
I'd be reaching through your screen and grabbing if I could.
I don't have it handy at the moment, unfortunately.
Yeah. Are you allowed to talk about it though?
Well, look, there was one sold on eBay. One sold on eBay recently, and someone did showcase it on the major wrestling figure podcast. And it's something to do with prototype, and it's something to do with prototypes, and it's something to do with MJF.
So we can talk about the eBay one then, right?
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, it's been. What did that go for in the end? I think.
I don't know, but there's MJF. What is this? Chase. Yeah, Chase. Prototype that was sold on
Test
eBay
shot.
recently.
Yeah. Test shot.
Test shot. Sorry. I call them all prototypes because I'm still trying.
No. It is no. Prototypes is the all-encompassing description of. Yeah.
Yeah. But so the AEW prototype game is starting to get out there as well now, which is exciting but also scary.
Yeah, I think there's a lot less numbers than the Mattel ones though, than the Elites.
Yeah.
A lot less, seem to be a lot less around. I think that went for over $1,000 US for the test shot,
which is crazy.
I do believe.
But hey,
when I saw it on
trifecta, if you can get that prototype, the regular, or even just the Chase, like the official Chase, and then the Chase prototype, what are you looking at in 10, 15 years' time, especially once you've won a world title, done a few things? Again, not that we look at these things as a monetary investment, but hey, in 10, 15 years' time, if it comes to me living on the street or me selling this MJF Chase, I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah. I think I know you touched on that before about sort of, some people do strictly buy stuff knowing that they're going to flip it, knowing that they're going to sell it. I mean, I genuinely buy stuff because I love it, first and foremost. And I mean, occasionally when you are dealing with sort of higher end stuff at a higher price, you do. I mean, I'm not a millionaire. I can't just go and, splash out. I don't have like bottomless pockets like probably like some particular. I don't have a big wrestling contract or anything that I can buy figures off or anything like that. I mean, I do have to sell things in order to get other things, and that's just how it works. And people always say that about like Mark Bushy, for example, and they go, "Hey, he always sells stuff that he gets," and it's like, yeah, but he has to do that to get the stuff. He had to do a lot of selling and buying, and he ended up with probably one of the rarest prototypes in the world at the time, which was a rhythm and blues Greg Valentine prototype, but he had to do a lot of that selling and buying to get that, and then he ended up he wanted to put some money away for something else, so he ended up selling that to a buyer, a collector in Wales, who I know as well. He got that went for $20,000 US. Huge money. Yeah.
Yeah,
He probably paid.
that's what I mean, though, like-
He paid $8,000 for it 5 years previous.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad return, eh? He got double
No,
plus.
not at all. And especially,
So,
like
I
you
mean,
said,
but
he done a lot of buying and selling to get in this collection, and he only sold it because he had to, you know?
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and you do get attached to it. You do get upset. I've sold a few things lately because I needed a bit of extra money for sort of something
man.
for my family
I wanted
that
to
we're
show
going
one of them
into.
on here tonight, regardless.
Yeah. I think I got more photos there anyway. But I think we've covered like prototypes and things like that.
Yep.
Is there anything any of you guys want to know about prototypes or anything that I can maybe be able to answer?
So this goes for people watching too. If you guys have any questions,
Oh yeah,
this is the man to ask. This is definitely the man to ask.
This is all script free, and I'm very tired as well. So hopefully I'm cohesive enough to answer them.
And I saw a green bottle coming in from the side too. So if you start slurring,
we've had it. There's been a family dinner, and I got up very early this morning, so I'm pretty worn out now. My two kids wear me out. They're a lot of work.
So we got a comment. This is a question. Never mind. Amoski #1 Grail item from Matua Kitsune.
Very good question.
That's a good question. Good question, Matua. #1 Grail item is actually, I've had several Grails throughout my life. Now, my first Grail was to get a Hasbro mint on card Dusty Rhodes, which I managed to achieve. My second Grail piece, which is one of the things I have retained, and I probably wouldn't sell it because I absolutely love it. And I only got that as recently as last year, which Matt's actually been sent a picture through of, is Star Toys.
Should I put it up now?
Yeah.
Oh man! Oh wow! That's wicked.
So Alex, yeah, Alex knows me well. Eh?
That was all perfect timing. It all just came bang, bang, bang.
And that was a perfect segue that Matua set up there. That was awesome.
Yeah. And it's good to see you tuning in, Matua, because I know you struggle on a Sunday from time to time.
Yeah.
That's
awesome name.
wicked.
Real or not, that's an awesome name too.
Yeah.
Matua Kitsune.
I think from conversations, I think you know him, Brett.
I do?
I think. We'll talk after.
Oh, okay. I probably know his real name.
Yeah, he's got an alter ego.
Right, yeah. Everybody does apart from me. I'm just Brett Amos on Facebook, and
yeah,
it's easy to find me.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you want the backstory behind Star Toys, is they were produced in Spain, sort of in the around 93, 94. Now, what happened was they produced a line that the first releases were Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, and Jake the Snake Roberts. Now, the first three releases had real hair, and if you Google pictures of them, I'm having a picture to show you at the moment. They're quite scary looking figures. And they sort of freaked out kids in the stores and didn't do so well over there. And so, first of all, they didn't sell too well. And the second issue they had was Star Toys in Spain thought that they had authorized the license from WWF to produce them and sell them. Obviously, I think somehow WWF cottoned on to the fact that they didn't actually give them a license to use WWF likenesses and logos, and then told Star Toys they actually had to pull them off the shelves. Now, they were originally thought to be bootlegs, but they actually weren't bootlegs because they were produced under the assumption that they had the license to produce them, which is why they've got trademark, copyright, WWF and everything. We can't see the back of the box at the moment, but it's all that's on the box. So anyway, so they decided to do a second wave, and they did Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and then they also did the Big Boss Man, So they already had, I think they already had Hacksaw Duggan out on the shelves, and then they went to put Bossman out, and this is when all the shit hit the fan, WWF. So then they had to withdraw all the product from the stores in Spain. And Bossman, nobody knows really what sort of numbers were produced of the Bossman, but I think there's probably that we've tried to figure out that we know of. There's only 4 to 5 of these in the world.
What?
In total. Yeah. Some incomplete. Matt Cardona's got one still shrink wrapped in the box. So that box you can see there has got a kind of just a shrink wrapping. It's not like a window or anything. So the shrink wrap's obviously very fragile and sort of breaks very easily. So he's got one shrink wrapped. There's one that is missing the shirt, the one that was missing the shirt. And there is one that is not boxed that I've seen. And strangely enough, Mark Bushy owned all 3 of them at one point in time, all at once. Yeah. So I bought this one off him, which cost a large amount of money I won't divulge right now. But literally, this is probably only one of 4 or 5 in the world. This is probably the second best one. I'd say Matt Cardona, because he's got the shrink wrap one, probably owns the best example. That's probably the second. Which doesn't surprise me, and that's probably the second best one. But it doesn't. The photos don't sort of do it justice. It's very, very, very cool. Yeah, okay, Alex, I can see that there. How much did it cost you? Oh. Alex knows.
Just slide into my DMs, Alex, and let us know that way.
Man,
let me try and put. You could probably buy a not too bad automobile for the same money.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
They would have taken a bit of convincing for the wife, huh?
Yeah, let's not talk about that. I've got in trouble several times.
So David says, I think me and Brett be roughly around the same age. Golden age.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I'm in my late 40s.
Marto says, from one old guy to another, who is your favorite pre-80s wrestler, favorite golden era wrestler, favorite attitude era wrestler, and favorite current wrestler? So there's 4 questions there.
Ooh, right. Hey,
favorite pre-80s.
Can you keep that on the screen so I don't forget?
Yep, I can also yell it out.
Okay.
So we go pre-80s.
Okay, cool. So he's talking pre-golden era, favorite pre-80s wrestler. I would have to say, he probably did go slightly into the golden era too, I guess. Pre-80s. Always a lot of wrestlers in there. I liked Harley Race back in the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
He used to scare me because he's like, the way I see it, he's like the epitome of that 80s wrestler before it all hit the glamour. He was kind of like he wasn't a body guy. He was just a tough, hard guy, you know.
Yeah.
And when many people didn't have tattoos, he had big gnarly navy tattoos on his arms, and he didn't look like he took any crap from anyone. So back in the day, he used to scare the shit out of me, to be quite honest. And if we move on to golden era, my favorite golden era is probably twofold, actually. I'd have to say my favorite golden era is Jake the Snake, who I really love, and it goes hand in hand with Rushing with Rude. I think both of those guys were 2 of the best promo guys around at the time. Jake the Snake especially, because he wasn't really a body guy either. He had quite a sort of menacing persona in the ring, and he was very psychological, and I kind of like that. And I still sort of err towards the guys that can really scare me. Just on the mic, just good stickmen that can sort of say, that can cut an awesome promo that really suck you into their character.
He's still the benchmark for promos.
Oh,
He's
hey, yeah, I don't think
everyone's
there's a better promo guy. And just like sort of with Rick Rude, and one of my favourite feuds of all time, especially in the Golden Era, was the Revolution Rick Rude, and also, am I still on? Oh yeah, sorry, I saw the screen cut off for a sec.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, Rick Rude and Jake the Snake, obviously, which was obviously a feud ahead of its time. When he had the altercation with Cheryl Roberts, Jake's wife, and all that. That's one of my favourite promos or favourite feuds of all time. What did he say? Can't beat a Macho Man promo. Yeah. That is also true. You find a hard time getting a very cohesive promo out of Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior, and Hulk Hogan though sometimes back in the 80s. Yeah, I sort of like the psychological drill that Jake used to put in there. And he's like, he doesn't speak loudly, and he draws you in with how soft his voice is, and it actually freaks you out more, doesn't it?
Yeah,
that makes total sense.
I think so. And Rude was just, I mean, Rick Rude character was kind of ahead of its time. I mean, he could have sort of really belonged in the Attitude Era too, you know, which I guess they kind of did. They did kind of copy that with Val Venus a little bit and took it a little bit further. I guess he was kind of a similar type of character, but probably more updated for that sort of late 90s Jackass style vibe, which is what, you know, which actually leads us into the favorite Attitude Era wrestler, doesn't it? So that's pretty good.
There we go. Look at this man.
All about segues, man. All about segues. I listen to too many podcasts. So, favorite Attitude Era. Look, I mean, it's for me. It's probably an obvious one for most people. It's got to be. See, this is really a two-parter for me too. I'll tell you what. I'm just going to pick one of the two. I'm going to go for Mick Foley. I'm going to go for Mankind, because I mean I can go Mankind, Cactus Jack, and Dude Love. Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon he nailed it. And again, you know, like it's not all about physique with him. I mean, he had every sort of disadvantage that you could possibly think of for a wrestler. I mean, he had you know, he wasn't a good-looking guy. He didn't have a body. But he had, once again, and this is probably where the promo thing comes in. He's just one hell of a promo, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know, he could make a promo out of anything. He could take a character that was not, you know, a character that Vince gave him, which was Mankind, and make that work. And I don't think there's anybody around, or not many people around, that could take bumps like Mick Foley can.
Yeah.
And I mean, one of the you know one of the Attitude Era defining moments is obviously the Hell in a Cell that everybody always talks about. And if you want to convince a non-wrestling fan about wrestling, you know, when they start pulling out the F word concerning wrestling, all you've got to really do is show them that, and it shuts them up straight away.
Yep.
Because I mean, nobody's beating that bump, eh?
Oh, exactly.
That's one hellacious bump. And it's not just that. I mean, even if you go back to the old ECW days with you know, with Cactus Jack, you listen to those promos he was doing. They'd just let like you know, Paul Heyman used to let him ramble on for. If anyone's ever seen the Cactus Jack DVD, that was from the pre-WWF stuff. There's a whole DVD on all his ECW matches and all his promos that he did when Stone Cold Steve Austin was in ECW. He came in between WCW and going to the WWF as Stunning Steve, and he's cutting promos against him. He has matches with Terry Funk. Those promos are just insane stuff. And he lets him go for a good 5 minutes on some of them. And there's not one time, you can rewatch those and none of them are boring. It's not like I've heard it all before. You just keep looking at them going, man, how do you come
probably
up with
went
that
to the
stuff,
same
you know?
promo school Paul Heyman went to then.
Possibly, but yeah, I mean, Paul Heyman does tend to ramble on, doesn't he? He can go for a good 5 minutes as well. They probably don't let him do it these days.
No.
And what was the last one we're talking? Sorry, I can't stay on for much longer, guys.
No, you're fine. Was
favorite current wrestler? Yeah. So, favorite current wrestler. so obviously from the Attitude Era onwards, so he's talking from about 2001 to present day, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Ooh, there's a lot in between there, eh?
If it's too hard to pick one, maybe top 3. This is such a huge time frame.
Yeah, could we do Ruthless Aggression Era? We could narrow it down into that, and then I don't know, 2008.
It's got to get out of here, Ruben.
Ruthless Aggression Era. One of my favorite guys. One of my favorite guys in there was probably CM Punk. Did some good work in the era, eh? And coming from the indies and looking like perhaps the type of guy that maybe wouldn't succeed at that level in that sort of environment, he did, and he made him believable that he could compete with all the WWF, the big WWF guys at the time. And they put him in a position, and he really took the ball and ran with it. The sort of the ending of CM Punk in the WWE didn't go very well in my opinion. He probably could have handled that slightly better. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, and probably not go into UFC and then lose too many, and sort of, that's one sore point with me. I mean, no, we don't need to do that. But I mean, as far as an in-ring competitor, finishing moves, character, promos again, it always comes back to me. It always comes back to the promo. I can't buy a guy unless he can cut a promo, and it's and that's sort of a problem I have with a lot of wrestlers nowadays, is they really can't cut a promo. It doesn't matter what you can do in ring, what sort of moves you can do. If you can't cut a promo, to me, I just can't buy into your character. I really have a hard time suspending.
You've got to make people want to watch what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And that's how you get people to want to watch.
I can't suspend.
It always comes down to these guys.
I can't have a suspension of belief. If they not cutting a promo and selling the character to you. It seems to be a huge problem with 90% of wrestlers now. So I don't know who's teaching them at promo school at Performance Center or whatever.
They don't. They hand them scripts now.
Well, I think that's the problem too. I mean, there were some horrific scripts. Horrific promos back in the day too. Where guys just purely couldn't cut a promo, but then they'd stick a manager with them. Guys that couldn't cut a promo. Yeah. It's like, okay, you're going with Bobby Heenan, you're going with Jimmy Hart, or whatever like that, Even into the Attitude Era. If they couldn't cut a promo, it's like, here, stick you with a promo guy, and he's going to get over. Some guys don't need to talk, and they shouldn't let them talk.
Oh, exactly. Brock Lesnar's a perfect example of that.
And I mean, that's another problem with today's wrestling that I have as well, is managers don't play a big part, and I think managers should play a massive role in.
Exactly.
Especially in the WWF, they seem to have taken that right out of the equation, whereas they can actually enhance a wrestler that can't talk a lot. Which brings me to one. I'll go like very, very, very current for my pick. I think of nowadays is we've even shown a figure of him tonight and talked about it. Would be MJF for me.
Right.
Yeah, it's probably one of the few reasons I watch AEW for. I mean, there's lots of guys I haven't touched on here. It's just, there's just the list a mile long.
So what I've got from all that is you love people who can cut promos and that are dickheads in the ring.
Yeah,
meaning
exactly. And a heel needs to be a dickhead, and he should always be a dickhead. I mean, a heel shouldn't be. And that's another thing. I mean, it's social media kind of created this problem, is where, and I mean, I guess a wrestler as well, trying to make revenue from T-shirt sales and things like that, they can be a heel in ring, but then they go on social media and they're not a heel.
Yeah.
And they're a meet and greet and they're not a heel. I mean, like MJF swearing at a little kid and stuff like that. It's like signing and stuff is like, in my mind, is brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like he's back.
Well, you
he's
even
in
go
his
look
character.
at the Major Wrestling Figure Pod toy drive that he was at, and everyone else was pretty much doing free autographs, from what I understand. And people would come to him, and he's like, "No, $15."
Exactly.
And
I mean, that's fine to do that. Oh yeah, but that's fine to do that later in life when you're off television, and be okay, I played this guy and and all the rest of it. But I think as far as if you're still employed by a company and you're a heel on television, I reckon you've got to either not go out and be a nice guy,
Yep.
or just when you do go out, be an asshole, because that's what people expect from you.
No, I
And
totally
regardless
agree.
of a lot of us, most of us know how wrestling works. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Including small
Especially
children
this
now, I'm
guy
guessing.
here, since he was involved in it
Yeah.
for a bit.
Well, that's what I mean. And my brother was involved in wrestling for a bit over here in IPW as well. And you don't want to be seen, out and about, like, being nice to people or talking normally when you're a heel behind the scenes, regardless.
Yeah.
It's just not. I mean, I think that's where they've fallen over a few times nowadays, and people getting hurt, like someone will be a heel, and then they'll say, or someone will say something like on TV or something, and it happens like, "Oh, you're fat" or something, right? And it's a heel, so you're supposed to say things like that, and then they get all hurt about it on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
It's
someone
just the
body
cancel
shamed me
culture.
or fat shamed me or something, and it's like, so what, man? You're playing if that person's yelling at you because they hate you. If someone's telling you to F off and they want to kill you, it's because they hate you. You're doing your job, aren't you?
Yeah.
Because that's what you're getting. That's what you're getting paid to do.
Yeah.
And
For
I
sure.
guess some of the heel tactics, you can't go as far now as you probably once used to be able to go. So I guess you've just got to kind of watch what you say. But I mean, even in the golden era, I mean, there was that was still PG realistically, wasn't it? I mean, they weren't. It wasn't Attitude Era. They weren't swearing. They weren't doing things like that. So, they still managed to get themselves over as a major heel by doing heelish things. I mean, it was a different era. It was a different era and a different decade. But anyway, getting back to MJF, I mean, he does that better than anybody, I think, in today's environment.
Yeah.
And I think he really knows what he's doing, and he realizes, and he knows, he's a student of the game, really. And I mean, it doesn't even matter if his in-ring isn't great, even though I think his in-ring is good. You know what I mean? But it doesn't.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even really matter, And the same thing. I mean, I know this is a contentious issue with a lot of people. Enzo Amore, for instance. He was an amazing promo guy and stuff like that. His in-ring was appalling. He barely knew anything. And he got a lot of flack for that. And I was going, but did you see how he boosted the ratings of 205 Live when he came on that? And he was a jerk off. And he was a jerk. And the word on the, I mean, obviously the word on the street was, in the locker room, he was a jerk off and stuff like that, which added to it all. And then people were giving him stick. People were giving him stick for it. And he quite obviously believes that his own shit doesn't stink as well, which makes it funny to me. And it's like, you know what I mean? And to me, I think he was one of the best guys they had during that time.
Yeah, I was telling Matt about that the other day, wasn't I? Exactly. Hit the nail on the head. The only reason why I ever tuned into 205 Live was when Enzo was on. Because as amazing as those wrestlers are, it's the characters that really draw you in and make you want to watch and make you want to see that heel get beaten up or whatever it is. It's just that's the main part of it. And
no, 1000%.
I hadn't seen a guy but in a long time around that era, around that time frame that was doing anything like that, you see, either. There just wasn't anybody around that was taking that risk, or even having a catch. I mean, they got huge through their intro and catchphrases, and they were selling a load of T-shirts, and then obviously something slightly sketchy happened, whether it happened or not, and then he sort of got canned. But as that came out later, I don't think that was entirely, obviously it was fabricated. What actually ended up, how the story ended up anyway, and that girl was fairly crazy, and but anyway, but then he's done a few crazy things after that, which probably didn't endear himself to a lot of people. David, I agree.
But anyway, Brett, because you mentioned you got to hit out.
Yes, I do.
Very quickly.
Just one kids to bed, and it's too late for them already.
One final quick question, which should be a quick answer for you as well. To a collector who's only just starting to collect now, they're seeing Hasbro's, they're seeing Retros, they're seeing AEW, they're seeing Mattel. What would your advice be to a brand new collector in the game?
probably focus on pick something like or a theme or focus on something that you want to collect instead of trying to collect everything.
Yeah.
To start with. Say I'm going to get all the I know Ruben collects a lot of stuff, but his main when I think of Ruben, I think of Undertaker. So he mainly focus more on Undertaker figures than anything else. So maybe try a theme like that. You go Jake the Snake and collect a whole bunch of Jake the Snake stuff, or things like that. I know some wrestlers you might only have one figure if you think that way, but think about it logically. Just create or say, look, I'm going to get the first series of Hasbro's, series 1. I'm going to do series 1 to 3 and collect the best ones of those that I can, or something like that. Because I've made a mistake in the past of trying to take something from there and there and there and there, and then it gets really confusing. Then you go, I really need to put this into some sort of order so that I've got, what I would collect now. In all honesty, I'd probably concentrate on AEW figures. Because they're some of the, to me, at the moment, I think they're probably some of the coolest ones out there at the moment. Jazzwares are doing an awesome job of those as well, and I think they'll be highly collectible. The first couple of series of those, at some point in time, No,
definitely.
And also the TV products doing extremely well at the moment as well, and I think you'll find is, Vince doesn't sort of relinquish his control over WWE, then they're going to end up AEW is going to end up drawing a lot of talent over, which they've already got the Big Show, haven't they?
Yeah, I was going to say Big Show.
It's only the start of it. Now that's what I mean. Now he's gone, especially the Big Show. He's been a WWE staple since the Attitude Era,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. And getting him, that's a massive coup for them. So, I would. If I was a new collector, I'd go AEW. Start with AEWs because it's only just started too. So then over the next 20 years, you can, or if they 20 years go that long, you can have a good collection. Start it off from them, or just focus on a particular wrestler. Like you pick a couple of your favorite wrestlers or an era or something like that, and start out like that.
Cool. Yeah. So to summarize, basically, figure out what it is you actually like, what you want to collect, and then just go ham on it. Try and keep yourself within those things. And
and don't start with mint on card LJNs. You probably lose budget in about half a week.
Hey, go all in or don't go in at all, right?
Yeah, well, that is true. Yeah, but if you're feeling rich and got deep pockets, find yourself a black mint on card Ultimate Warrior or something to start with.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome, Brett. Thanks for coming on, eh?
Hey, no worries. Really sorry, I went well over time, but thanks for having me on. It's always good.
It was an honor to have you on. You've taught us all so much. We really appreciate it.
I think we're going to have to organize an interview so we can keep that conversation going.
No, definitely. I'll be on anytime. Hopefully, if I can be available, I'll be on. Sure.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
All right. Thank you.
Cheers, Brett.
Matthew. Thank you, Ruben. Thank you, team.
Thank you.
And see you later, guys. And thanks for voting me, by the way, who are the 14 people that voted for my collection. I really appreciate it.
That's cool.
Thank you, Brett. What a chat. He's just an encyclopedia of wrestling figure history, isn't he? The amount of knowledge that he just splurted out.
Yeah. Well, like I said, at the first picture, I learned so much already that my brain was kind of like, no more, I can't contain. There's too much information coming right now.
He covered both ends of the spectrum way back in the 90s with the Hasbro and then bring all the way to the current Mattel figures. He's just got, man. And we barely even scratched the surface with his collection either. That's just
exactly. That's why we're going to have to organize that member interview once he gets his collection set back up again, because there's so much more to look at.
Yeah. All right.
If you ever get the opportunity, like anyone who's watching, if he offers for you to come around for a beer or whatever and have a look at his collection, take it up. He doesn't offer it to many people, and when you get there, I mean, you only saw 3 items, or 3 sections of his collection, should I say. There's a lot more. Let me tell you that for sure. It's ridiculous. So I'm just going to go through these comments. I had to stop doing them because obviously I knew that Brett needed to get out of here.
Right.
So Matua, my suggestion for this question, if you really want to know, drop it on the group in either a post. People can ask questions on there for him too, or option 2, Brett might even just come through and answer it in the comments anyway, because he does that from time to time. And then option 3 would be go to the poll, because I know he's on there as well, and just drop the comment there, and I'm sure he'll answer it.
These are great questions, though, Matua. You really got,
definitely.
Really got everyone's brain spinning.
Well, definitely. What's up, John? David, would you say Bray Wyatt is the next Foley example, Faces of Foley?
That's a fair point. He's had a few different looks now in less than 10 years.
I could see where you're coming from, but the concept, yes, but the execution, no. If that makes sense.
He's what Bray Wyatt's done. He's really just turned it into his own thing. He's not really the second coming of anyone. He's the first Bray Wyatt,
and that's kind of why I'm saying the concept, a little bit, but the execution, you can't really compare it. Speaking of promos, Bray's the only one I turn in to watch WWE.
He's another similar example, especially before the Funhouse stuff. His promos were kind of similar to Jake Roberts, how he'd talk a little bit slow and a little bit quiet, so you'd have to lean your head in, hear what he's saying. Bray Wyatt's a good example for current wrestlers when it comes to character work and promos and stuff.
No, 100%. So I think that's everything for the show.
Man, just
we learned
so much in that last half an hour or
so. Our running time has been going like this every single episode. We've slowly been bringing it down, and I don't know why, but I knew this episode it would just go.
That's crazy. Brett showed 3 little sneak peeks into his collection, and it's just taken it out like that. But man,
definitely. So, is there anything you want to talk about before we get out of here?
I am really curious to know the more details on these pins that you've got coming out here, man.
I mean, I wasn't actually segueing to that, but hey, if we haven't got anything else to talk about, we might as well, right?
Been hanging out for this all night, Matt. Pins, here we go. Matua knows.
So, let's talk about it. These pins are available right now at WrestlingNewZealandPins.BigCartel.com. If you use the promo code pre-order at checkout, you will get free shipping across New Zealand only. The free shipping option will only be available for the pre-order time. Pre-orders are only available for 2 weeks. After that, it'll be 25 plus post. Already, quite a few people have been messaging trying to buy them, so I have no idea how many are going to sell right away. I can see Ruben in the bottom corner here trying to order it already.
Yeah.
So yeah, go for gold, guys. It's available now. Information will be posted on the socials probably tomorrow. We'll give anyone who tuned into Figure Frenzy the exclusive chance to get it first.
Don't sleep on these people. Don't sleep on these.
And what you see in that image there of the pin is pretty much how it's going to look. It'll be a copy and paste. So I don't foresee it changing too much, if anything.
And you were saying this could be the first of possibly many. And what a way to kick this off. Safe to say, probably the hottest New Zealand wrestler today.
I've been saying it for like the last 6 months to anyone who wants to hear it. Put this guy overseas, and he's not going to be out of place.
Not at all.
You know, he's so early in his career, and already he's done so much, a few firsts, and it's gonna be crazy to see where he goes from here. So yeah, jump on if you guys want to get that. I'll chuck it back up on screen for a minute again. Wrestling New Zealand pins.bigcartel.com.
Yeah, bravo for setting this up, Matt. This was really something that I don't think anyone would have ever expected. So the fact that we're getting the opportunity to own something like this, it is just wicked. And yes, I'm in the process of ordering one right now, in case I miss out.
I will say the other person who doesn't want to be involved might be a bit annoyed at this. So let me say it again because I don't think that was proper English. The other person who's involved may not be too happy that I'm saying this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. This is a project to fund a main project. Okay, so if you guys want this main project to come to fruition, the pins need to be supported. Yeah, simple as that. But regardless, the pins will stay around even once or if the main project comes to fruition. All right, so the pins aren't just a fad. They're hopefully here to stay. So yeah, my question, I guess, who do you guys want to see in the line? I mean, we've got a few guys that we're going to contact once these ones drop properly. But who do you guys want to see? Do you want to see Bone? Do you want to see Titahi Vinny Dunn? Do you want to see Tox Farley? Who do you want to see? Let us know. On that note, anything we're going to close on, or is that it? That's literally it, right?
I think that's the perfect way to close us off. Huge announcement right there. And yes, don't wait. Just go now, or else you'll probably miss out. This is the start of hopefully something big to come.
Awesome. All right. Well, on that note, I'm Matt. That's Ruben. There would normally be Alex here. And thanks for tuning in to Figure Frenzy. And we will see you guys for episode 7 at the end of next month.
Really appreciate it, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Get 'em all, I gotta get 'em all. 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 Wrestling collectibles, NZ competition tried, but now they on their deathbed. They just can't do it like this. And lost things like big boss man with the nightsticks. Got them basics, them elites, got them retros. LJNs, them Deludes, and them Hasbros. What you want, new or old, you can get them here. Common finds or obscure stuff that's really rare. I gotta get all of the figures I grew up with. Back when Taker put Yoko in the casket. Need all my favorites, mint on card. Our community, make sure that it isn't hard. Catch us at our locals, scoping what they got. I gotta scoop the latest figs before they get too hot. So I'ma watch my biggest stacks get taller. That ain't a prediction, that's a spoiler. Get 'em all, I gotta get 'em all. Get 'em all, get 'em all. I gotta get 'em all. Get 'em all, get 'em all. I gotta get 'em all. And once I got 'em all, then I gotta get some more. Get some more, get 'em all. I gotta get 'em all. Get 'em all, get 'em all. I gotta get 'em all. Get 'em all, get 'em all. I gotta get 'em all. And once I got 'em all, then I gotta get some more. Get some more. It's a Figure Frenzy on the off the burner. My member interview on YouTube, something you should turn up. Pre-show chats and the watch alongs. Start hard every time, then we finish strong. Pop Guardian for your exclusives. Killing retail with that new shit. Restocks of the same things is the new sense. I need some mystery, like who's in retribution. New elite of that heat, that's a collectible. Ultimate edition drop, that's a collectible. Super 7 new figure, a collectible. A-Dub drop, that's a collectible. Super 7 new figure, a collectible. AEW Series 1 and 2 collectibles. Get 'em all, I gotta get 'em all. Get 'em all, get 'em all, I gotta get 'em all. Get 'em all, get 'em all, I gotta get 'em all. And once I got 'em all, then I gotta get some more. Get some more, get 'em all, I gotta get 'em all. Get 'em all, get 'em all, I gotta get 'em all. Get 'em all, get 'em all, I gotta get 'em all. And once I got 'em all, then I gotta get some more. Get some more.